TSM go down to the wire essentially with Envy, whereas M80 gets surprised early by Ambrosia and then have to bounce their way back. So their road is a little bit softer starting off 0-1. But now, critical time for both these two teams.
Yeah, and especially if you're looking how the setup is for M80. Just Roy was mentioning at the desk as well with Dan Dryad that they had to go through, you know, role changes and Victor playing a little bit more initiator so he could be a little bit more vocal. Last time, I think I remember vividly, like, Victor is playing like KO or even Raze on this map on previous rosters. But we'll hold that thought for a bit. We'll talk about the compositions. We'll talk about the setup and the head-to-head with these two comps later on, because the action's already starting. M80 is going for a full push into this A side on the attack.
Yeah, GMD going to get a little bit of information before the wall essentially deters any actual visual confirmation of what's happening. Okeanos trying to go for the plant. Triple stack down in hell here against Sim. Dizzy comes out. You're going to know there's at least one player down low. Now you're going to read that there's more, and TSM starting to rip him apart. What a read. Just great information gathering skills, and it leaves Bao by himself. Long-range shots not going to be there, and TSM take the pistol.
All right, so now I have a chance to talk about it a little bit more, because TSM, when they were very dominant against Cubert Academy, most of the rounds was on the attack. If you're looking at the composition of TSM, it's like, okay, well, usually on paper, I would think this is going to have to be an A-hit simulator, right? You're blocking every single thing. You could wall to go for a plant. You could orb for a plant. You could gecko plant while you're on top of it. So things should make things quite easy for you to be able to plant. The post plant might be a little bit more different because you have less util to work with. So you might have to play a little bit more sites, off-site, high-lows, whatnot. But on a defense, it's similar things. Cascade for the retake, Gecko to defuse, or Wingman to defuse rather, and then you have the orbs in the wall. So it could be very, very annoying to deal against right now on the side of M80, where they haven't had that rep to play against TSM yet with this composition, but they at least would have some sort of expectation.
Oh, but look at this, Vansili. You want to talk about just asserting your dominance from the word go? How about this? You drop the barrier orb, you spend both slow orbs, you're going to make sure no one collects just an orb for M80, and TSM really set the tone here.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're locking up an area as well, Sim's moving forward. I mean, this is just the young guns fragging out at that spot. That is a beautiful hold here on the defense for both Vora and Sim. And Sim able to play so aggressively the way that he could because he's playing against full classics. If he gets lightly damaged, there's always the heal coming out from Sage. So there's a lot of different layers of how annoying it could be to play against this composition. At the tip of it, though, on paper, a lot of the double controller has found double controller composition has found a lot of success on the side of M80, especially on the VCT circuit. Like Crew does it, MIBR does it, and amongst other teams. And it has found some good value because you could section off so much here on your attack movements.
Oh, but again, TSM just not respecting the harbor utility, pushing right through the cascade for first blood. Now you've got early knives for Sim. And M80 into a full purchase rounder sitting here like, what did we load into?
That's what I'm saying. He's feeling himself for sure. And you allow yourself to be as aggressive. I mean, I'm expecting this game to just be Vora being the Sage pocket pick for Sim. But thankfully, though, at least we have a 4v4. Everything's blocked off from the wall, though. You're forcing everybody to play on elevation on the side of M80, where this could be a perfect spot for 7 and also for Vora with the double stingers.
Yeah, the owl drone from Caillou, though, did get a read on Devore's position before. And it looks like TSM are going to have to try to get a little bit deeper into sight with the barrier orb falling, and that being the muse for a cascade to come through. And M80 start to make their way forward. High tide to block off the site. Sada, what can TSM find from inside? Stingers, again, largely what's in play. Sada with the rifle, able to find the first blood of this engagement before a response. Now into the tough battle. But that's where the Stinger really shines. 3v2 situation. Offense a little bit stuck at the moment. More reads from 7, but Solo chows it, and he'll be punished for it. So now Vora on the backside of the high tide, looking for timing, but runs out of ammunition, but Gomon right there with him, and that'll be enough for TSM to still hold the site.
And he still gets the kill, switching out to the secondary with the headshot. Oh my god, that was insane. TSM or not given a chance for M80 to really set up anywhere. And as I just mentioned, the cascade pushing forward, right? If you're looking at the way that a lot of these double controllers scale into the A site, not only do you have a cascade that push forward that Okeanos is going to do, Victor is already setting up for the lineup so he could throw nanoswarms on the top of pipes and then you should have shock dart snake bite combination at the orb so that players cannot push us forward as they want to. The only gap that you have is on the L, which unfortunately M80 got the L because Sim just pushed on top of that and he was able to dash away.
Oh.
And you get a kill through a wall.
Come on. Just to make matters worse and to really make this map feel miserable.
Is this five satellites playing right now? Everybody's getting lucky with these kills.
Well, M80 gonna still have to try to force the square peg into the round hole here with just the weapons they have available or the weapons that they have now given away. Wow, clean stuff from TSM. And again, it's just first blood success, taking the map over early, whether it be over towards that front entry towards B at green or now a couple of rounds in a row right on top of the A wires. It's just been so clean, so polished. And M80, I don't want to say they need to talk about it soon, but this round right here is going to give us an indication of what their playbook is going to really feel like, and if they do need to take an early timeout to get things in line.
I fully agree with you. If they don't capitalize this round here for M80, there has to be a timeout. The thing is, though, the good thing about it for M80 side is that they're still going for the hit towards the A site, where TSM are actually going for a triple push down towards middle. So if anything, they break the turret, but what happens after? There is a possibility that Val gets punished, and GMD in a one and done.
Oh, well, hold on. Gonna get a read. Backs away. It's all he wants is the pixel peek. Aldro does connect onto him, but will force GMD way out of sight. And the defense are going to have to fully play retake here. No chance to contest this time around. And there really aren't any ultimates available for them to try to break this back in. So this is going to be a full-on 5v5 retake.
And Vora walled down towards middle, so that will guarantee no flanks coming in from M80. So they could just fight front side of the map.
Caillou makes some considerable damage for the mosh pit, but M80 still standing tall, at least initially. Trades are even. Sim maybe another chance to connect, but not going to happen. Rise is going to come through on the 7, though. TSM now with numbers, trying to fight their way back into the site, but Caillou still holding this back single box, has done miracle working, and that's exactly what will finish it off. Another double comes through, and M80 finally on the board.
And beautiful there for Okeanos. As they move forward towards that site, yet a reckoning to work with, and only decide to use it once TSM started to engage into the retake upon the A site. So very nice counter. It gets you all that information that was needed. It didn't really give a chance for even Sim to set up the scope down to try to land a second shot as he lands his feet and points his feet towards that ground, and Okeanos even wins that duel against them. So that really saves the round there for M80. And like I mentioned before, they needed to win this round for the side of M80. If thought that timeout was going to happen, they had to scratch their heads, dig deep in their pockets to fight it, figure out some way to fight back against TSM, who now goes back into what seems to be that second round anti-eco, still keeping Sim and Vora together towards his B side and trying to play a little bit aggressively towards the A side first, just to try to get early information. But you're definitely seeing here at this point, Shift, that you might start playing for the retake because there's still the lockdown available for Victor. They could open it up and then they'll have a thrash to retake, at least on the side of TSM.
You also got to keep in mind that early aggression could get punished heavily here by TSM sitting on just light armors into the face of Vandals. So you also want to play with just the efficacy of what you have available in your health pool. But you may have called this one out perfectly here, Vance. Lockdown to get entry, high tide to block off the wall. But again, the thrash is going to be what's key. You see the defensive high tide being called in. Thrash now on the way. Sato sitting into a corner. He's going to get detained. What are you doing? Come here. Let me get that. Bowie with a find. At least one, though, to get things opened up for the 4. Secondary engagement delayed, though, as the reckoning starts to come out. It's going to keep Hage a little bit more, a little privy to kind of dance around, but still comes away with 2 from that same single box position. And GMD by himself has really seen the life in this retake gone to the wayside, as Caillou has just single-handedly made this post plant lockdown secure and will be rewarded with the 3rd and final.
So far, Caillou has been pivotal for the side of M80 to stay alive here in these gunfights in the post plant. That said, though, the protocol was like perfect on the side of TSM. Not only did they get the stun onto Sato, they made sure that it was GMD that was going to get the kill. Look after this. You're moving forward, GMD's finding that kill, and as he gets the kill, it allows the reckoning to be available.
Yep.
So he throws the reckoning, and they start fighting here, and they section off the site perfectly. But then I think there was maybe a ping coming out from Caillou, and how he's playing inside the site really saved that round there for M80. And this is the last round where, you know, there's going to be a strong op on the side of TSM. Small shield, op in hand, op versus op as it gets walled up first.
All drone denied. Wall starting to be broken. This is the same setup, like you mentioned, kind of from round number 1.
Yeah.
Onto that trap play at B. And this time, M80, fool me once, shame on me, but there will be no fooling me twice, as they're going to rewrap over towards the front side at GMD, looking for timing, but Caillou gun up, able to stop that before it can really deter the play.
That was a first big error coming out from TSM. You can't be pushing that way, especially when you already put the wall up in the slows. Yes, you can play the tight angle for a 1-for-1.
What?
Spike down.
What an exchange from 7. And now Vora follows up. So that is a 2v3 moment, polished and cleaned undeniably by TSM. And now you're going to have a little bit of an exchange of weapons as Victor needs a rifle if they want to continue into this 2v3.
And a plan, they can't even get the pit up. It'll be so difficult for them to hold the pulse plan here. Just got to be proceeding your shots for Bao and Victor.
Now one swarm grenade will be there to try to deter the pose plant. Snakebite also at the ready. Sim with an op. If he can catch an angle or catch a rifle, he may decide to try to push a little bit further forward. Victor looking for the long range shot. Misses the first elbow. Sim now perfectly scoped up to it. Bao not in a position to hold it. Bora now sticking off to the defuse. Good opening shots for Bao. Finishes it off. And then, oh my goodness! What a snap for Bao. He finds the third. A 1v3 clutch. And M80 are in this game.
What a round by Bao to clutch that. The smoke was perfect, at least for a brief moment, where Sim gets that pick. He smokes himself out and tries to readjust at that position. But it's a 3 versus 1 at that point. You gave some sort of timing here to allow Bao to isolate 3 individual fights. He even gets a free kill onto recoil because it's sticking out in the open. He was so close with the defuse. Look at that. Probably like a second away. Not even.
At most a second away.
Wow. Oh my. That's gotta hurt. That was, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Already a Reckoning moving to the site. The op, another purchase going into TSM, already down.
Yeah, Sato not done yet, but held at bay as 7 at least gets 1 trade before falling. The high tide, though, allows, again, clean entry for M80 to get a plant.
Both TSM and M80 are just making up for the time that we just had in map number 3 for Ambrosia and Qbert. This map is so fast.
Loving it. TSM trying to clear as many angles as possible, but there's just too many in front of them. Vora does get 1 trade. Still question marks on where Victor and Okeanos are, but Bao able to get 1 sort of response. Bao and Caillou, last ones left here for the offense. Vora kind of stuck between both, and really not a lot of information onto either. And yeah, that's enough for Bao to just, again, play a little keep away right here. And how about the resurgence for M80 after the opening dominance from TSM?
Yeah. M80 doesn't want to let go of that aggression. They're like, okay, if TSM's going to play that style, we're going to do exactly the same thing. And finally, it's TSM sides that finally wants to slow things down on their end. That said, though, I love how this map has gone back and forth for 4 unanswered rounds for TSM side, 4 unanswered rounds for M80. That said, these fights are so good thanks to also both the controller from Okeanos and Caillou one more time within these sites. As I mentioned, everything right here at this round, everything was perfect to fight within that site. And there you go. See, location revealed after GMD got that shot. So we're definitely missing a lot of dark breakers, and that mistake coming out from GMD maybe was what started to break the economy on the side of TSM as well. Because yes, I respect that you're trying to push forward, but to try to like swing out and try to find a deeper flank when you've already stalled towards the B main. That's where it hurts the most, because now you're just walking into a potential rotate. You can't find the information because you're playing controller. You don't want to drone because you don't want to give your position away. So you're just going to swing out to 2 players like that? That is unfortunate.
That really is. And it's just really odd, I think. Well, I think maybe even more specific, not really all that odd, but to kind of just point to what you're talking about. Look at the differences in the kill feed and what's on the leaderboard right now. Like for TSM, all that opening aggression, Sim and Vora playing off one another worked out nicely. But on the other side, M80, like you kind of mentioned, like just kind of hitting you with quick utility and then flooding behind it. They're getting the intel gathering tools that they need to get onto site, get plants. And even though we don't see any diffuses or spike explosions on the timeline, believe you me, friends, it has been a lot of post-plant success for M80 in these last 4.
Almost had the timing to take down Bao there. Bladestorm activated on the side of Sim. Still gets
well done. Oh, and meanwhile, how does GMD get 3? I feel for our observers right there, because that was difficult to manage due to the fact that you had the aggression from Sim on one side. That found success. You swap over, and then immediately M80 said, we gotta go, we gotta go. And GMD says, not so fast.
Where the hell was he? I'm still trying to find the X. I thought it was spiking with Sim. I'm like, wait, hold on. Where is he? Oh my God. That
just in the corner.
How does he get 3 like that? What kind of fake check are we getting there from Sato? He looked left, but didn't go for the deep 50 corner.
Unreal.
Oh, that's gotta hurt. That's gotta hurt. That's not the timeout you want it for the side of M80 here to take advantage of TSM's timeout. Now TSM's back with full tempo in this match.
Everything just resets just like that. What a map to this point. High Tide going to cut for the defense deep over towards the front stairs at A. A little bit of a show of force for M80 over towards the B site has TSM lurking in towards mid, but the longer this takes and the less that they see, the more they're going to need to retract back into the A site.
And if you're looking at it after this timeout, though, where it actually mattered why we called the timeout for TSM, look at Vora is actually holding as well. If he's not using it for middle, where that he does it at the minute mark, he actually keeps it on him as well so that they could potentially use that for retakes onto the site.
Well,
because M80's been very fast moving in.
Yeah, and TSM are going to contest this time. Lockdown is in for the defense. Sato trying to push forward, but he is by himself. I mean, that was as wide open by himself as it could possibly be. Hunter's Fury was part of this, but with the Reckoning involved, it just... that was a little bit too aggressive from Sato. And yeah, TSM, after playing retakes, now finding a timing to challenge the spike from even being planted.
There's 30 seconds left. They had a chance to fall back for M80, but they still want to full commit.
Yeah, GMD right there with it. 7, nice transfer. Barrel stuffs Okeanos for the double and a flawless round for TSM. And again, just kind of looking at how the timeout works. Yeah, you come off the edge with GMD finding 3 with the Sheriff in the round prior, but that must have been what TSM were talking about. We have to get the wall up earlier, force M80 to consider this hit towards A, and then we can place a secondary wall behind that to make sure we can contest the spike plant.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if anything, TSM's been doing a good job reading into how M80's adding their pressure in the very beginning. If they're using their walls aggressively towards the B side, perfect, because Sim is already there with Vora and they're able to hold that spot. But keeping it on the A side where they're using it more reactively initially at first to prevent the push. I like to think again that they were trying to save that for a post plant wall defuse if they could. But as the clock kept dwindling down and you didn't really see any proactiveness coming out from M80, then it's just heads up play from Vora to throw that wall towards middle to just section out like a late pivot back into B. And you're now at that moment forcing and committing M80 to re-hit towards the A site because you can't backpedal. The rotate back towards the B site is way too long. And you're going through mid and you have to break the wall and it's already going to give a tell of that full rotate on the side of TSM.
Yeah.
But M80 calls a timeout. They've been very one-dimensional, one gear. For the first time potentially now in 11 rounds, maybe off this timeout, they could actually cross the line of scrimmage towards this long B and get a B plant.
Yeah, because I think the thing that might be a little bit different here for M80 is that you're considering that the Thrash retake is a little bit more potent around the A site than it maybe a B is over towards B.
Yeah.
And that is, again, a small consideration can, trying to line up everything, but we'll see. Cascade out, blocks the line of sight from top yellow over towards B cubby. But as it fades, Sims may have a chance at one. What a shot on the Sato right over the top of the heady. And that'll be an opening first blood and a 5v4 for TSM, looking for more as Victor is going to try to get isolated and will be.
Get a res too. Dude, this is so nice from TSM.
Oh, and now try to challenge the Cove. Sim still standing tall for a second. 3v2 situation. Thrashes out, trying to make sure that this spike does not get planted. And actually will hit on the 7. Problem is, Bao is protecting, or is he? Vora with the trade. Okeanos gets the gun up, finds the first, so the 1v1. Low on health, and 7 catches the right timing on the angle, and it's 7-4 with 1 to play in the first half.
And with the way that Bao's been clutching on the first map or in the first half that we just witnessed here, and Okeanos, for me, has been very consistent in the clutch too. It felt like at the moment that TSM were a little bit too aggressive after getting that first pick onto Bao. You know that Okeanos is going to be coming back from the from getting detained here by the Thrash, and he should be able to win that fight. I mean, look at that, catching Vora off guard, but thankfully 7 is there, so getting good impact kills. We just talked about how Sim and GMD had some crucial rounds and crucial kills in the very beginning for the first bloods, but when the other ones need to step up, man, do they do it. And I haven't seen this strat since my ranked games back in like 2022. So the wall to boost everybody up towards belt, quick aggression on the flank from behind. You still have the alarm bot and nanoswarm to delay towards that front side B site, and then you'll have a bloodbath containing everybody from M80 back towards B main. If I'm M80, you have to flood that map. You have to flip that map over, and they are at least doing that.
Well, Okeanos will have the plant. This could look different here for TSM's retake. Viper will get the post plant set up with the pit. 7 up top. timing. Catches one for free. Now just trying to spam everything down low with here comes the long pincher on the back, but doesn't even need it because it's just you walk into the pit and you find all the kills apparently, Vans. I don't know how else to explain it. The wingman also just chewing on you a little bit as Bao and Sato are holding the same angle. Snake bite down, Bao doing what he can, but it's not enough. TSM's gonna have an 8-4 half.
Wow. Dude, was that like 15 minutes to the half?
If that.
I won't even have enough time to like take a sip of water. We're just gonna be parched by the end of this game. But TSM are you know what? They were talking about, I think Roy was doing the metaphor that they're a nice looking robot and functioning quite well. I don't know what the hell that meant, but I think he means that they're looking good.
Yeah, for real.
And that they do. They are definitely looking good.
It's just one of those things, man. It's just like you come out and there's no like soft jabs being thrown. TSM just set the tone immediately. And I do have to give credit, you know, M80 come back. Those 4 rounds in a row are impressive. And I think a lot of it is kind of meeting fire with fire. But those back 4, TSM kind of take a moment to reset.
Ow. We're on
play the
Icebox. How do you want to fight
contestant.
fire with fire?
Well, true. Okay, Vans, dad jokes aside. Just go with me on the metaphor, all right, brother?
I'm with you.
this guy.
Cascade for mid, triple push down towards middle, though. M80 already has an answer on pistol.
Victor with the first trade. TSM respecting it. Going to back away. And I think this is just an initiation of saying, if you want to throw 3 members through mid, we'll just go ahead and start taking our numbers advantage over to A. And that high tide will siphon off 2 members of M80's defense into the site.
And you're healthier as well for TSM. Wingman can plant. They can trade off the wingman.
Or not.
Spike down.
Victor will get 2. Bow another. Nowhere for 7 to go.
Oh.
Or is there? No, there's
No,
not.
there's none. There's none.
Or
Wait,
is there?
there is.
If he gets this headshot. Okay. Bruh.
Cannot go anywhere.
No. Okay, there we go. Wow. Made it interesting, though. Made it interesting.
And that's the thing too. So you're starting to see a little bit of like the weaknesses around TSM with this composition as well. As Roy mentioned, they are only playing a single initiator, and the single initiator is going to have to be the gecko here. So when you want to try to break util to prevent KG util to prevent plants, then it's hard to do. You have to now move in, cross the wall, try to break that. So the utility that Victor places around the map so far could be actually quite beneficial on countering M80 here. And that's why he's always placing that nanostorm on that right side. Maybe they're just reading here that TSM, as we mentioned before on paper, should be hitting A after A after A after A with this comp.
Oh, TSM this round with just classics, not going to try to do anything cheeky with stingers. It's just going to see if they can put together a shooting gallery at B. Dizzy deleted by Bao. Up top, though, clean shots from Sim. That's a free weapon. Spike already being planted over the top of the wall. Victor having some trouble with one. Sim going to take use of that, and Sim's going to find more. That's now 3 down. TSM with numbers. Sato and Caillou trying to rotate over. Really, it's just Caillou, though. Sato still holding over towards mid behind this wall. A late lurk. Does Sato catch this? Doesn't hit the first shot, but the pistol works out. 2v2. Aldrone to scout. Time, though, ticking. And GMD may have just gone missing, and that will work out. TSM with the thrifty in the second round.
And it's the Bulldog and the Vandal that they picked up from the players that invested over towards that B side. Nail in the coffin for that round. That's gotta hurt. Sim activated. Dude, he comes back in this season with the chip on his shoulder. For me, looking at Sim on how he's playing as his duelist this year is very similar to like a Mata, I'd like to say. He hasn't said it, and I'm not quoting him going into that one, but Mata, at least last year, was saying, I'm probably the best duelist that we currently have in North American Challengers, and there's a reason why I'm the best. And Sim is just letting his fragging do all the talking as well.
And he's looking for more. Oh, good. How?
Dude, that's in the chest. That is some
Correct.
yay stuff right there. That is some yay gulag, no scope battle, bullet to the chest.
And Sato, just to mention it, has just had a miserable time in this 1v1 with Sim. Late wall goes up. It is. It's very, very difficult, especially when you're dealing with just pistols in this round in particular. So TSM looking good for double digits, but there are 3 members for M80 here, and Bao is kind of taking a peek through mid.
So Sim looking to entry for the team here so they could follow behind him. Even if he has no dash, he's going to do the selfless play. Oh, you're melting
A lot of chip damage. Yeah, and Victor dealt with Caillou for one, but that'll be all he gets. And TSM will only drop a single member in their what will be their 10th round win.
Oh, thankfully, it was only a pistol round for M80. The economy is right this time around, and they have a chance to really try to fight back here against TSM. But you already see the idea, like throwing the cascades in the front and also playing very close to the orb. If you're looking on the side of TSM, they don't have too much util that pushes you away. So I love that we're playing these forward positions, and you have the nanostorms to delay towards the back. Not this time around, though, because you're using most of the KG util on B. But you can definitely see that the setup that you currently have from M80, they still want to try to fight off pipes, off belt.
Well, wow. Okay, that'll work for Sato. That'll get the mojo flowing just a touch. First blood onto GMD. That will make this execute a little bit more difficult with the harbor down as well. Keep that in mind. So it's largely going to fall onto what Sim and 7 can put together if they continue to play into A.
That's a great start, though. Not anymore. Sato just got it traded out. I was going to say the recon that nobody broke in the beginning here for TSM. It was a nice little surprise attack from M80, but that should be accounted for in the future rounds for TSM, especially with the way that they're playing right now. They were kind of like a flow state. They could just hold W, but now they're going to be a little bit more ironed out in that one. You have to capitalize on this round for M80. If not, might be over right here.
Yeah, very well could be. Thrash is out, though. That's enough to get things in. Recoil. Oh, missed opportunity here. That one is going to feel miserable. That was a free two-piece. Just can't quite catch the angle.
Spike down A.
7 gonna work on the plant, but Bao's watching it, and there is just nowhere for Vora to go. Oh, missed opportunity though for sure.
Yeah, and that's what was needed. Even if small mistakes could be costly on the side of TSM, you need that little bit of a gap here, room to breathe for M80, because they were getting suffocated in this game so far. So to be able to capitalize on a small little whiff and to be able to win that round 2, not give a chance for TSM to get a plant, that's the type of round you needed. If not, TSM's running away with this game 11 to X, where M80 potentially could have been into an eco in this round or a half buy, anything like that, and TSM runs away with this game. So it's nice that they're able to build that confidence and to be able to close out that round, especially with the recon first kill that they've gotten on their side.
Well, here we go. Aggressive battle over towards green. Through the harbor utility, though, Sim finds first blood again. And meanwhile, as the defense rotates back to try to help this, the offense is already all the way over to the front doors at A.
And the comp that you have for TSM is not supposed to allow for you to be able to do that.
No, it's not.
Cascade, you're trying to scale behind that. There's no recon in the back. The best thing you have is maybe a Dizzy to throw behind that wall. But if not, you're just trying to spray and be lucky, and they got that. And then if you make it out of it, Sim just got a heal by Vora, and now they're playing full health on a player advantage. That's just unlucky, though, for M80.
Well, the call to answer is going to be on to Victor. I'd say he has all of his utility to play off of. Bao, the first one to drop. Victor deals with one, but is going to have to do a lot more than that as 7 is working on the plant and a 4v2 post plant on top of that.
You got to save. They've already lost Okeanos in the first place, so trying to section out that wall, trying to play the retake, trying to play the reckoning on the retake too, probably would have been something that was part of a win con here for M80. I don't know if he got it after dying or not, but nonetheless, you're definitely seeing like the pings and the watch outs of where they could maybe falter here. So if I'm looking at the side of M80, I'd rather switch over to Phantoms now. So you could just try to spray back through the cascade walls towards that long B side. Maybe try to find something here to stop TSM. But on their side for TSM, they've really been going different types of hits every single round so far on their attack side. Like, or it's brute forcing the A site, starting towards B with a brute force as well. But all of this is just better conditioning that they're going to have on their side to play around with M80. I wouldn't be surprised here if TSM is going to try to go for that again and put Sim on a B side. But this is all just conditioned to keep some players at bay, weaken out the A site, and they can tempo on that spot. We'll have to see how that's going to continue forward. But yeah, that's definitely now. I think this is the last time out from M80 that's been called out too.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, this has been a thrilling affair.
Yeah.
I mean, lightning quick. It's just one of those things, like, you come off of a series like we had with Ambrosia and Cubert Academy, where like both teams are like really trying to feel things out, playing a much slower game of chess. This is more like speed checkers right now, where these guys are just throwing everything at each other. And the thing about it that I think is like refreshing in a certain way, like, I don't want to use that word because it makes the other series sound like it wasn't, but it's just, you know, it's still put together. Like, it isn't just loose and wild for the sake of being loose and wild. Like, the executions are really well put together. The retake utility has been really well established, and I think it's just, again, good rehearsal rep, good protocoling for both these two teams, and if that continues, we're in for a thrilling series.
Or it just ends right there. TSM could be continued with the confidence here and push this over to Lotus, although Lotus historically, you know, since I guess Challengers for the last few years hasn't always been the best map for TSM going into Lotus, so there may be a chance here for M80. But that said, I'd like to think that the vetoes that are currently coming across for M80 with the role switches that they've had to had, it still favors them in a bit because Bao seems to be just been playing Viper lately because they're able to do that on maps that you need Viper.
Yeah.
So that might be the silver lining here for M80 moving into that second map, but they have to close up this first one first. So now they go back into, okay, let's scale up towards the green. You see that he threw the Dizzy on the right side of the wall, and they seem to want to be committed into this one too, because you have a Reckoning to just clear up the B site.
Well, opening contact over towards yellow, going to come through quickly. The fight force as the Reckoning gets called in. Foul for 2. 7 responds with his own, though. Gokianos just inside the site. Whoa, what movement from 7! Just breaks ankles and gives GMD a chance to get involved. Now you've got, well, you should have had a read on Sato. But in what could be a 1v3, he deals with the largest health pool in the first battle. So now to the 1v2.
Fundamentals are important here.
Should be called. Secondary check. Here's the Cloud Burst, trying to get cheeky with it, but 7 peaks, finds the headshot, and TSM is instantly on map point.
Not sure why he threw it towards here. Was he expecting a Dizzy to be thrown or something?
Not
or
sure.
Somebody flanking from kitchen, but yeah, that if anything, whatever. It's difficult to do. They went for the fundamentals on the side of TSM. Sorry, they went for the 3-2-1. Perfect swing out, perfect kill towards the end. But yeah, that shot that came out there from 7 to get that kill after dropping the wingman, that's one of those, hey, Gecko just came out and we could actually make him quirk. Watch this video. He just danced across and broke ankles and allowed here TSM to put themselves at 12.
That's sick. Bao looking for maybe a Viper's Pit if there's some sort of a connection off of an execute to come through. You do see on the bottom side of the map, Sato has taken down Green's angle with knives, so the defense will rotate over quickly. And as soon as there's any noise made, I'm sure Bao hits this ult.
You just stay quiet the whole time. Finally, you hear a little bit of floating on the other side, but yeah, they're just playing contact. And it's going to be too late with the pick coming out. They should still be able to plant this. Unless the shot dart's ready for the spot. Oh, yeah, no.
TSM get high ground control on top of that. Reckoning is going to be called through. Defensive lockdown is in. Bao's going to try to put some pressure on TSM by toggling the spike. Here's the pre-fire setup. Okeanos has an angle at it. Okeanos has an angle at it. No defensive utility on this post plant comes through. And Okeanos just able to hide behind the corner before the nanos can get trucked up and M80 keep themselves alive.
And that's the difficult thing, too, on the side of TSM to deal with in the post plant. You have Okeanos that's still alive. He's going to throw that cove in. He's going to defuse within a Viper's Pit too, and that allowed for him to just stay alive and go for the full defuse too, because he's just absorbing a little bit of those bullets. But because of that Reckoning that was also thrown out by Okeanos, the others couldn't really set up to start throwing utility in the pulse plane, like no mosh being thrown, no nothing. And that's all I was mentioned before. This composition for TSM, it's not as easy to play the pulse plane with util because the best utility you have are nanoswarms and also the mosh. But you're gonna need the nanoswarms to start to to at least scale up onto the map if you want to throw for some scaling, right? So you might only have like 1 nanoswarm left. So you have to play on site, and they couldn't do so with the double ult coming out from M80 there on that defense.
Now Sim on a bit of a rogue mission here, looking to see if he can catch any intel onto Bao. This poison cloud will fall in a moment, and Sato may have a look at this. Looks like M80 may wait for this to, come down. There's the dash away. Sim still trying to hold, but no, not going to happen. First blood to M80.
Finally, some sort of answer back, but you're playing weak side on the A side. Double nanos, but I think this time if you go for a plant on the top of the A tower, it should be easy for them here.
Well, the initial attempt at the plant gets repositioned, and wait, 7 is backing up here. Now the return back in. Cascade for the defense comes through. Hunter's Fury also there, but GMD responds with a secondary blood on this battle. Chance to recall, but missed. And now M80 with numbers, deal with it. And they're not done yet here, Van Silly. 8-12 the count, and there will be enough purchase here for TSM, but M80 putting together a couple of solid rounds in a row.
But this is finally starting to reset on the side of M80. You had to utilize 2 big ults in that previous, 2 rounds ago, then the Hunter's Fury this time around. You got nothing to work with this time around, going into round number 21. And even in later rounds, the closest one you have is the next Reckoning and 4 kills. They're not orb massing so far for M80 because they get denied by the over-aggression out of TSM at the front of the A site. This time they have 4 bodies to work with, though. Is it enough? Nope.
Well, here we go. Early contact coming through. Sato dealt with. Same can be sent for Okeanos. Oh, no.
Oh, bye-bye.
And we're just spamming. We're just spamming for first bloods here. Nowhere to go. So Bao has to be a hero. Try to get over quickly as Victor. Side blinded, though, by Vora. Puts it all now onto the shoulders of Victor. Rez is in. Rash has connected. And there will be at least some respect given at the end of this one, but it's still a convincing scoreline. TSM 13-8 take the opener.
They didn't even want to dance on that one. GMD just ran out and killed him instantly. But that was a dominant first map cut out from TSM so far. And dude, what could you really do at that point? You had